I'm going to show you what is starting these fires here in California. This is plasma. If you watch closely, I have this slowed down to 0.25 because it's time-lapsed and it's harder to catch what's going on here. But if you watch these dots here, they move. Watch this one here especially. Watch real close. If you look at all of these dots here, most of them will move. You'll see some coming up this way, you'll see some coming up this way, you'll see them shooting across, back and forth, especially right here. When this ball of plasma disappears, it's going to appear over here, and this whole area is going to ignite. Now, if it's going into the ground and then bursting back out, I don't know, but it appears that there's plasma going in both directions here at an angle, so this appears to be the focal point, this mountain range right here. Alright, so watch this, and also watch these. You'll see these going away. Everybody's saying that these are explosions that are happening from the ground and direct energy weapons. No, this is not direct energy weapons. This is plasma. I believe this is a direct result of the chemtrails spraying the nanoparticulates, aluminum, barium, strontium, so on, making the air a conduit and exchanging the energy that's up higher in the atmosphere, ionosphere, which is what, millions, maybe trillions of volts, into the earth, which also has its own energy source, I guess you would say. And so the plasma is exchanging from the ground and the atmosphere through the conduit, which is the nanoparticulates in the air and on the ground especially. So that's why this right here flared up. This is a conduit. So the energy can travel through the air and then also across the ground. And then it accelerates because of the metals that are in the air, the aluminum, thermite, and also on the ground. So therefore you get this. When this flared up, it brings up all this smoke. This smoke then becomes a conduit as well because you have the nanoparticulates that are in the smoke coming up off the ground. So the plasma is in the smoke and it's feeding itself. So it's just expanding and growing and growing and growing and getting bigger. That's why it appeared to be maybe 50 miles wide at one point, because of the energy involved in this plasma exchange. So this is the main point here. This, of course, disappears, reappears over here, and then it just ignites. While that's happening, you have the plasma that's going all over the place, literally in all different directions. The more you watch this video, the more you'll see that there's a lot more going on here than you realize. And so this is why these fires are just popping up randomly. Homes, businesses, forests. This has nothing to do with the wind and dry air. Nothing. Not at all. This plasma is vaporizing everything in its path instantly. It vaporized metal, so it's going to vaporize everything else as well. And you can't stop this. There's no way to stop it. You just have to hope the energy fades out, and so does the fire. We have no control over this. This is only the beginning, and it's not getting better. My observations over the last year is it's getting worse. And I believe this is exactly what happened in Paradise, except for it appeared to blow straight up out of the ground, maybe a couple miles high. Yeah, there could have been a hand in that, but at the same time, I do believe that plasma was involved. I mean, we did see Orville Lake boiling, so there was energy there somewhere, somehow, whether it's plasma or ELF, microwave, who knows. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if we have this plasma exchange going on here, what difference does it make if we have man-made weapons too? It really doesn't matter at this point. I mean, is that for their defense? Or is it to make things go by quicker? I mean, if we're in a grand solar minimum and this is the result, that means we've done this before. This has happened before, which explains a lot of the structures that we have in the past, the megalith, thick buildings and the structures that appear to be melted, and no one can explain why. Well, I think this might be the reason. Because I think over time, these plasma exchanges are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, some call it the EMCO event, electromagnetic plasma catastrophe event, I believe, something like that. But yeah, I think that's probably on the right path. This is humongous. This is just a giant, intense fireball. There is no stopping this. I mean, just look at it. I think that a lot of the reason why we're not seeing so much smoke in some areas, but we see intense fire or heat on the maps, is because the plasma is burning and vaporizing things. So therefore, there's not as much smoke. But as it's burning in other areas where the plasma is less intense, maybe it's burning it and therefore it's smoking, like you see here on the outer skirts of the central plasma. That's a lot of smoke right there for sure. But if you watch the news, at one point it'll show you the fire and there's very little smoke, and then later on there's just so much smoke. You know, there's air quality warnings. One minute you'll have smoke, but it won't have a smell. And other times you'll have smoke and it's raining down ashes. So that's exactly what happened in Paradise when that fire was going on there, and in Lake County, Santa Rosa, Lake County. It was very smoky around here, but there was no smell of smoke. It smelled like chemical, maybe sulfur. But sometimes it didn't have a smell at all. And then other times you would just have big, thick chunks of ash raining down on your car and on everything else, like snow on the ground. But I'm just going to let this continue to play. There's really not much more I can say about it. I've already stated my opinion, and I really truly believe that this is plasma. I believe it has a lot to do with the plasma magma. I believe they're related in the underground plasma, and then you have electrical plasma in the atmosphere. The connection here, the conduit, is the nanoparticulates. I believe that's what's making this happen. Now, did they spray nanoparticulates in the past? It's possible. All I know is they're doing it right now, and that is making this happen much faster. And I think they know what they're doing. There's no doubt about it. They've known about the energy in the air and free energy for a long time. So maybe this is the solution to their issue. You know, there's other things they're trying to do at the same time that maybe aren't working fast enough. But you know, I fear for a lot of the things that are capable of happening or possible at this time. It just takes somebody with a careless finger to push the wrong button right now. So if you think that I'm onto something here, I would highly suggest, you know, sharing this video. It's very important that we get this out. People need to know the truth. You know, they're using words in the media like explosion and explosive fires and eruptive fires. So yeah, it is. You see that plasma explosion. Did it explode out of the ground? Maybe. Is it plasma related? Well, yes, of course. But magma, maybe that's what's coming up out of the ground. It's all one and the same. So yeah, they're related. They're connected. Sorry about the pop-ups and the noise, but I'm just kind of doing this spur of the moment. You know, I've had a channel for a few years, but I really don't have anything on it. But lately, I just feel I need to get this out because nobody's telling it, you know, like it is. They're just making up a bunch of crap. They just want to believe so much that this is, you know, direct energy weapons and aliens. And you know what? Simplify it. Just look at the facts here. I don't see any crafts anywhere at all shooting any beams. Do I believe it's possible? Absolutely, yes. I've seen it. Is it happening here? No, I don't think so. I just... What's going on here is a lot at one time. There's just no way that they could conduct a symphony quite like this so perfectly. So, yeah, you know, maybe this is what shooting stars really are. Maybe it's just we didn't have the plasma so intense, and therefore when we saw these balls shooting through the sky, you know, yeah, it's a shooting star, but I don't I don't believe that nonsense. I think that there's more to it, and maybe what they call ball lightning, which isn't very, it's not a very good name for plasma balls, but I believe maybe that's what we're seeing, streaking across the sky. I mean, we're seeing them right now, except for we're seeing it a lot. And if we're in a grand solar minimum and the poles are shifting, or the pole is shifting, well, here we go. But if you look at the heat maps on the west coast, the ground itself, it intensifies in heat, several times a week, if not several times a day. So there's something going on, that's for sure. I believe magma's on the move on the west coast and in other places because we have volcanoes erupting and fires breaking out and earthquakes. Earthquakes can cause a charge to build up as well. So maybe that's what's building up here is a major earthquake here on the west coast. In addition to this here, we have magma moving towards the Pacific Ocean. We have potential for earthquakes. Flooding here in California as well. It's too much in a short period of time. So, well, let's keep an eye on this and see if we can get more images like this, more video. If you have infrared cameras or you know the source of one, please post it, please share it. Let's get some eyes out there on the night and see if we can catch more of this, because now that we have one video, I think we can come up with lots of videos. I believe this happens every night, but nobody knew what to look for. Look at the time on the video and look how much I've had to slow it down just to see this. So if I played this back in real time, these things would be streaking so fast you might not even see them. And if we played it back in real time instead of time lapse, these would be even slower, so maybe you wouldn't even notice them. But it just seems to be the right speed to where you can notice it, and there's just no arguing with it. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. This is something that you would have, a nightmare about, or see in a movie. But please, if you think this is important, and it is, please share it. Thank you for your time.